Number 5. Maria Theresa of Austria. She was the eldest daughter of Emperor Charles VI, who promulgated the Pragmatic Sanction to allow her to succeed to the Habsburg domains. Maria Theresa Walburga Amalia Christina was ruler of the Habsburg dominions from 1740 until her death in 1780, and the only woman to hold the position in her own right. She was the sovereign of Austria, Hungary, Croatia, Bohemia, Transylvania, Mantua, Milan, Lodomeria and Galicia, the Austrian Netherlands, and Parma. She had 16 children, who also became key power players like the Queen of France, the Queen of Naples and Sicily, as well as 2 Holy Roman Emperors. In 1667 she travelled to the Spanish Netherlands, then in the grip of the War of Devolution, waged largely to defend her claim on the Spanish throne. But in 1683 she returned exhausted from a tour of Burgundy and Alsace. Back at Versailles she soon fell ill, and died suddenly from complications linked to an abscess. Number 4. Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut 1508 BC to 1458 BC was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, considered to be one of its country's most successful rulers. She oversaw major building projects, military campaigns into Nubia, Syria and Levant, and rebuilt broken trade networks. Hatshepsut was the 5th pharaoh of the 18th dynasty of Egypt. She was the second historically confirmed female pharaoh, after Sobneferu. Hatshepsut came to the throne of Egypt in 1478 BC. She oversaw major building projects, military campaigns into Nubia, Syria and Levant, and rebuilt broken trade networks. The cause of Hatshepsut's death is not known. Her mummy was missing from its sarcophagus when her tomb was excavated in the 1920s. There are several theories about her demise, including that she either suffered from cancer or was murdered, possibly by her stepson. Catherine the Great. Catherine II, most commonly known as Catherine the Great, was Empress of Russia from 1762 until 1796, the country's last empress regnant and longest ruling female leader. She came to power following the overthrow of her husband and second cousin, Peter III. Born in Poland, as a German princess, she attained rule of Russia through marriage and held on to it for 34 years, especially after she plotted to overthrow her husband and assumed complete power. She is responsible for continuing Peter the Great's work in modernizing Russia, bringing it more in line with the West's Enlightenment ideas. Catherine died quietly in her bed on November 17, 1796, at the age of 67 after suffering a stroke. After her death, her enemies spread gossip about her that has endured for centuries, that she had died while having sex with a horse. Others claimed that she died on the toilet. Number 2. Empress Wu Zetian. Wu Zhao, commonly known as Wu Zetian, alternatively Wu Hou, and during the later Tang dynasty as Shen Hou, was the de facto ruler of China from 665 to 705. Her rule is known for expanding the Chinese empire, economic prosperity, and education reform. She was also known as a patron of Buddhism. Wu was forced to abdicate in favor of her exiled son Zongzong and his wife Wei. She was in very poor health anyway by this time and died a year later. Number 1. Elizabeth. Elizabeth was Queen of England and Ireland from the 17th of November 1558 until her death in 1603. Sometimes referred to as the Virgin Queen, Elizabeth was the last of the 5 monarchs of the House of Tudor. One of most powerful English monarchs ever. Never married and called the Virgin Queen, the intellectual Elizabeth I defeated the Spanish Armada and ruled successfully for so long that her reign from 1558 until 1603 is known as the Elizabethan era. As monarch, the last of the Tudor dynasty, she encouraged major cultural changes like the Renaissance and the transformation of England into a Protestant country. Elizabeth died on the 24th of March 1603 at the age of 69 after a reign of 45 years. Many now believe she died by blood poisoning, but a post-mortem at the time wasn't permitted. Read about some of the theories surrounding the Queen's death.